In 1962, Dwayne Geater moved to Independence, Iowa to start a business of his own, Geater Machining.
And one day he just says, I think I'm tired. I think I'll just start trying to maybe start my own. It was a tiny little place by Fairway, the old Fairway. But it was the old high school. It was the old high school at the time. And it had a little building behind it.
We had, I'm going to say 4 old lathes, turning lathes, and some drill presses, just a handful, and a couple of mills, little hand mills. And that's kind of what we started with, a tiny little office for him.
From the very start, when Dad first started the company, his very first part that he made when he actually went off and started with the company was Rockwell column. And that was back in '62. So for 50 years we've been working with Rockwell column.
Within just a few short years, Geater Machining was already expanding, adding manufacturing and moving to 901 3rd Avenue Southeast.
Before we knew it, Dad was already wanting to move forward. And we moved over to where the old True Value is. One of the scariest times was really when we had the flood that flooded that building so badly. And he left, it was dark, I recall even, he left when it was fairly dark on his little boat and motored over, because we lived on the river too, just a few blocks from there, and motored over to the shop. He had to check the shop, it was the only way he could get there, 3 blocks away. He jumps in this boat and he takes off in this high raging water in this little boat by himself. I couldn't believe he did this. And he took off to check the shop. He checked the shop and came back. He didn't come back. Somehow he had to stay there because the water was going that one way. But that's how dedicated, any time that Dad wanted to do something, he dedicated himself.
It was this determination that helped grow the company throughout the 70s, moving to the current building on 901 12th Street in 1974.
Well, I started in 1969, and Geater's used to be 2 companies, Geater Manufacturing and Geater Machining. The manufacturing was electronics. I'm thinking at that time electronics because they were a big supplier for Lefevre. Had probably 20, 25 people, and machining, I'm thinking had 10 maybe.
Originally, we was with Collins to start with. After about 2 years, I think they were in business, Jack Hoagland came on board, and he was in the electronic end of it a little more. He got hooked up with Lefevre to make bank vault stuff and a lot of the security stuff for the banks.
As Geater's added, lost, or changed customers, the shop and offices changed. The biggest change? Technology.
Well, when I started, we had no computers, no CNC machines. Payroll checks were written out by hand.
It's overwhelming because you think of it now, every day, everything that went out the door was invoiced, typed up by hand with a typewriter, written in a book. It's just amazing. The technology, the difference, where we've come from there.
The production was being done with mostly drill presses at that time. I think we had like 50 of those units, double units out there, and everything was done with castings. Nothing was really machined out because we didn't have the big milling machines.
Technology, the first technology we had in sheet metal was turret, Raskin, German, I think, or Swiss. I can't remember which, but that was big technology back then. And then it got to be the fin powers, and now it's turned into the trumps and lasers.
And they had an NC machine, which was a huge one that was making vault doors for us up here. And that was a very heavy, ornery machine. It like throw things at you, crack. Everything was open, so you learned to duck.
I used to program and using Mastercam, and we used to have a large machine, it was called the 80, and we had actually tapes that we had to use instead of the digital information that we have today.
If you look at the 90s, the technology started, I think, changing dramatically. Especially, it used to be manual lathes that they used to have, manual vertical machines and things like that. Then they got into the CNC machines, and that was a dramatic change for them all. And then they started doing a lot of sheet metal work. They got into turrets, and once they drove into the turrets, that really changed the outlook and everything of Geater machining too, and some of the things we were able to do.
With 50 years of technology change and continuous expansion, GMM continues to strive to reach its vision, creating growth and diversification.
The biggest change is our size. That's huge right now.
Especially in the last couple of years, you know, obviously a lot more people, a lot newer people, and just the quality expectations, I think, are really starting to go up.
Well, right now, one of the coolest things that what the company's doing is growing. It's just really neat that we can grow the company and keep people working and have a great atmosphere where people can really feel comfortable, I think, to be able to work in this company. And it gives a great opportunity for the community when we are able to grow the company here in Iowa in Independence, which I really believe very strongly on, to be able to grow it here in Independence, Iowa, because I think there's a fantastic workforce. And I think there's a great opportunity that we can just keep growing it, making it stronger yet.
It's just truly amazing how far we've come from 3 men starting a business.
We had Dwayne and Ed in here about a year and a half ago, and we talked with them and showed them what we're doing. They were extremely proud of what we've accomplished and the team that we put in place. So I think they're extremely proud of what we're doing.
Currently, GMM employs over 160 people, does nearly $20 million in sales, and just recently completed a new building expansion. All of this is possible today thanks to one man, starting off on his own 50 years ago, Dwayne Geater.
The Geater family, and of course Dwayne in particular because he hired me, took a chance on a young kid just out of high school, no training.
Well, the Geater family's been phenomenal. I mean, through Dwayne, Scott, both of them. I mean, you can walk in their office any time with them. Their families are always very supportive of everything.
Yeah, I want to say thank you. Thanks to Dwayne and his family, and Scott and Geater, and now Joe and Dan. Big support factors.
It's wonderful how big this has gone and how good everybody, how wonderful the employees have been. Very, very proud of where it's come in 50 years and really exciting new growth and new addition. Grateful to everyone who works here and has made it happen. We do, as Mom said, want to thank all the employees for 50 years of dedicating, or it wouldn't be where it is today.
I think he believes the same as we do. It's an absolute great place to work. It's a great place to have manufacturing. And the people are fantastic.